Let there be light. Let there not be a children's ballads board, which is pretty cool. Woo. Welcome. What we hold in our heart. Water. Water. Water is life. Water takes on the resonance of what we believe and feel and meditate more easily than any other substance I know in the material plane. Your blood is mostly water, and it spreads throughout your entire body. Honor the water. Honor the water. Honor the water in you. Honor the waters in the world. Fire. Too little fire, not enough heat. Too much fire, all burns down. Too much fire, water can heal with the rain. Too much rain, world floods. These are the simple principles of life. I encourage you to set the intention to stop listening to any thought or person that doesn't go this deep. This is like, come on. This is like basic lifeguard training for living on Earth. You can't say fire is good. You can't say fear is bad. Anger is bad. That's not how the Earth works. Notice where people hold polarities, rejecting one end. Oh, I don't feel any evil. Rejecting one end without embracing and honoring the opposite. Notice this. And not to say that such people don't have any medicine for you, but there is a severe limitation to folks who say yin yoga is good, power yoga is bad. And then they focus on how power yoga can go awry. You can use too much assertion. You can lose your meditative presence and, create damage. But too much stillness, it can be part of lethargy. When you need to create heat within your body, being still, languishing, not evoking will and effort, is sickness. Sickness. So be present with these forces within you, because today is all about balance. Misty, Angie, Kinsey, Tom. I'm so glad we all get along. With you folks, I feel so strong. Good morning, Sarah. Yesterday, I woke up with an invitation. Years ago, I made a prayer to go to the woods. I was out at a gathering called Greenfest, but it was in the city, and I was just consumed with we're in the city talking about the green life, but we're in the city and we're talking about the green life. It was driving me crazy. And so I made a prayer to go to the woods, and a woman offered me a ride and took me to the woods. After being with her for a while, she shared that she thought that I functioned much better as the fruit of a tree, and coming out of a community, than I did as a loner. And I didn't know how to take that at first. I knew myself as like, I could survive anywhere. And I've carried that ever since. I've been a part of many teams, and nothing has fit. And yesterday I woke up and there was this beautiful presence saying, there's a team that wants you to join, to be a part of it. And I noticed myself settling with you and not fully acknowledging that some part of me is still so worried, so addicted to my stories and my past that I'm not fully embracing what's here. And I'm so excited to. This past year has been incredible. A year ago, a little more in the spring, I was at my wit's end. I was so frustrated that I was pouring all my efforts into YouTube and I didn't know what to do to make it work more effectively. So I spent 2 weeks just recording a live stream whenever I wanted to. I did 3 a day sometimes of an hour long. I was just like on and on and on. I moved through everything that was stuck and I got so much support from you guys. And someone hooked me up and suggested I ask Kevin Moore for an interview, and that catalyzed many more of you arriving. And I realized that underneath it all, I needed to make these courses, and I made 2 courses. And this past week, Miguel sent me the reproduced files of the second course. So now both the first and second course are produced and elegant, and I'm proud. And I was going over them, and I'm like, wow, like it was moving me to tears. Like we did it. This is it. This is it. This is better than I knew how, better than I knew we could do, than I knew could be put into the world. This is my love. When I talk about what I love, I'm talking with my heart. And when I say I'm talking with heart, it's a very, very simple principle. As I communicate, the thoughts and feelings I share are in resonance with the heart. And this is super basic. Can I feel my heart when I talk? Yes. Now, here's the thing. It won't always feel good. If what's in your heart doesn't feel good, following your heart doesn't mean your heart is showing you the exact path that leads into joy. It's more multidimensional than that. Following your heart means that you are honoring what's in your heart. You are allowing yourself to be drawn by what's in your heart because you know you must be what's here in order to transform and create a grateful and appreciative and loving, compassionate life. And I ask you for permission today. May I talk with your heart? This is no small thing. This is no small thing. When we talk with hearts, it means everything in the heart wakes up more. So as much as everyone, most of us might agree, yeah, please, let's be present with heart. It's a little different once you start realizing the pain's there. But we have to do these. And I'm inviting you to say yes and allow this time together reach your heart, because this is more than words. This is more than words. Here's the thing, people. I am not a big believer in dating apps. I know this seems like a segue. It's not. Now, all respect to any of you who have reached someone this way, there is beauty in it, and it could be perfect. You know, there's nothing to say that it can't work, but I think it creates more problems than it solves in a certain respect. Now, I like the fact that it's honest. I do. I like this a lot. I like the fact that you can filter out, you know, like, I don't want this, 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 and this. I do want this, this, and this. I like that. I like it a lot. And it's important to realize that in this modern era where profiles are available, and today we're talking about your heart's profile, when there's a profile available for everyone else, it's not just that it's curated. That's not the only problem. I mean, it's problematic that these things are curated, right? Because you know what you're getting is only what someone wants to give you. But that's not to say that that's all of who they are. And then we start asking questions like, does anyone even, who is qualified to honestly create a profile that's honest, that's present with the truth of all of what you'd be getting if you were to become this person's friend or partner? When you start considering how challenging it would be to create an honest profile, there's only a first layer of things that you might be restraining. Like, in a very real way, you may know some of the problems that you have, and I would presume it's relatively rare that people actually post those in any kind of proportion to, like, this is a big part of my personality, you better be ready to put up with that. Likely as not, most folks aren't sharing their faults or perceived challenges. But beneath that, if you were to make a full and honest profile that completely communicated who you really are, you would have to know yourself well enough to be able to do that. And if you knew yourself well enough to be able to do that, you wouldn't have a lot of the problems that you have to begin with. Sort of circular, right? Wait. Your heart. It already exists. You don't need to do all that work with your mind. In fact, your mind, your mental focus, communicated through conceptual language and logical progressions, it's not as honest, and it never will be. Your heart isn't. It's right here. It's right here. So what we're talking about is, let's be in our heart's profiles together. Let's be in our heart's network together. If somebody's making an honest Facebook profile or Instagram profile, but nobody's on Facebook or Instagram, doesn't really matter, right? Well, I'm telling you, basically, most people aren't on the heart network. Not here. It's a sideshow. It's an every once in a while, my heart feels open. Isn't that great? And then forget about it and go back to focusing consistently on your mind. How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? It's easy. It's frighteningly easy. Right now, feel your heart. I have no trouble. I go right here. I feel my heart right away. There's like a 5 out of 6 out of, as I focus on it, it goes up immediately. 6 out of 10 positivity going on here. It's strong and clear. I just have to check in every minute or so. But mostly I'm actually resting here. I'm like feeling it as I talk. Now, this is an art. You could get better at this, but all you got to do to start is start. Can you move from whatever you're communicating or thinking about to feel your heart? And are they on the same or harmonious or totally different vibrations? That's it. That's it. And this is all you got to do. Go. Go. Do it. See, this is getting on the heart network. And you get on the heart network, and then you're present with someone, and guess what happens? Imagine, I wonder if I have something. So, when this is folded, the inside of each layer is touching itself. Your heart's like this. Your heart is like a flower that has not unfolded. When I take this and realize it's magnetic, this is magnetic. I'm telling you, it's magnetic. But if the magnet is neutralizing itself, this has no impact. No impact. When I open this, the whole magnet works. Now it's not negating itself. And I'm telling you, it's magnetized in such a way that this makes sense. Now it's opening to the world. Here's the challenge. I am here to take you beyond what you like about the law of attraction. Your heart will attract everything that you are. Everything. The principle is, yes, indeed, we have a magnificent amount of influence to think positively and to attract what we focus upon. But people are overdoing this. People are overdoing their emphasis on optimism and positive thinking and the law of attraction in the form that is extremely common out there. The reason they're overdoing it is because it's comforting. It's like a lullaby. If you get this right, you can have all you want. If you get this right, you can have all you want. No, the next level is you got to learn to stop wanting the wrong stuff. Because the beginner intermediate layers of learning about the law of attraction are that you're going to put your attention on what you want. Now, I wish I could credit the person I learned this from, but I just saw a little video saying want actually means to lack. This is the old English understanding. He's wanting. He's lacking this. So when we say we want something, we're actually emphasizing our lack of it. So creating these lists and then learning how to attract them is a complete and utter mess if we don't know how to make our lists. But once we realize that there are restrictions on how we make our lists, it's like, okay, look, two things happen at once. One, you feel like, oh my God, you're taking away my freedom. I can't ask for whatever I want. And I'm telling you, by wanting, you're saying I lack. I lack all sorts of things. I lack meth. I don't have any meth in this room. I lack a leather cushioned seat that would take up half the room. I lack that. I lack a hydrogenated oil box of Twinkies. I lack that. Do I want all those things? No. If you have to attract something in order to experience it, in order to realize that you don't want it, you're going to live a long and boring and painful life. At a certain point, you want to advance, grow, mature, flower to the point where you say, guess what? I want to open my heart when my heart is closed. When my heart is closed, my primary goal here is to open this heart, because I know that if I can unfold all these folds and get my heart working magnetically, I'm not going to have to play these bullshit games anymore. I'm not going to have to participate at all, because I'm going to start attracting everything I really need. Ooh, well, first level, what you really need is to have the courage and support to attract everything that's in you. You're taking it all to the next level and you're saying, bring it. I don't even know what the hell all my problems are. Bring it. I want this. I want this. Got a little spark in my heart again. Get it started when I surrender in tune with the gifts of the living sun. Tell everyone our story's just begun. Underneath everything you think you know, the skins you shake with the sacred tone, only the strong believe and thrive. First, you got to learn to survive. Been waiting for a long time. Throughout so many years. It's not that I'm unsatisfied, but send me all and guide me through my fears. That's the prayer I made. That's the prayer I made 20 years ago. It worked. So here's how it goes, people. I'm going to stay with my heart in this, because I don't know how to communicate it. I lived a lot of lessons that you don't have to live, and I won't sugarcoat it. I moved through a lot of pain that I would prefer a lot of other people not have to live. I also manifested most of the things I wanted for years. For years and years and years, I got the things I wanted. I wanted to live in a mansion. I got a giant room with a personal bathroom in a mansion for free. All I had to do was do yoga in public and teach people yoga when they wanted it. I wanted opportunities to work on farms. I got them. I wanted an opportunity to live in a community house. I got one and another and another and another. I wanted an incredible apartment within a subway ride of downtown Berkeley. I got the perfect one after another. And I wanted a fire dancer. I wanted a yogini woman to be with. I wanted a singer woman to be with. On multiple occasions, I went into new communities. I found the woman I was most attracted to, and she ended up being my partner for over a year, for years. Again and again and again. It worked. And it took me too long to realize what was happening. My mind, my mental concepts of what I wanted were having too high a priority in what I was doing. I was not opening my heart. I was not flowering because I was too afraid to open my heart. I was too vulnerable. I opened my heart sometimes. I mean, I was a very loving person. I wasn't keeping it open and I wasn't following it. And most importantly, I wasn't honoring it when I made my biggest decisions. I kept being in turmoil about who I was and what I wanted, and I would allow the strongest positive vibration to help me determine the choices I made. In order, when I say positive, I don't necessarily mean morally positive or true to me. It was just like resonant. The strongest resonant attraction that I felt was, I'm like, I guess I'm going with that. This is not heart-based, but when I put my attention there, your attention is a huge vote. Now, I don't know what the proportions are. I'd like to learn. I'd like to study with the Heart Math Institute, do a whole range of experiments that I have framed. The degree to which our overall magnetism is defined by our will is high, but it is not 100%. And in many cases, it's not even 50%. Why do we keep attracting the same negative relationship patterns? Because it hurts, so you say no, but you don't understand your own investment in the equation to begin with, so you're going to attract another version of the same thing. That's what I did. It got to the point when it hurt, so I said no, but I was still resonating myself into the world. We resonate ourselves. We don't need to write it down. We don't need to post pictures of our negative, nasty looks. We don't need to be mentally communicating everything that we are. So when we rely on the belief that our ability to communicate our mental intentions and priorities, as if that's going to work, we're going to find someone else who believes that, number one. So boom, there's a choice. Then we're going to find someone else who believes that and believes in our stated conscious intentions. But that says nothing about everything underneath. So what we attract is people who believe that 30 to 60% of themselves are their whole self. And then their traumas get the rest of the vote. Our traumas get a huge vote. Our repression gets a huge vote. Repression is very present. And what does it do? It attracts someone who is harmonious with our repression. This is all in your heart's profile, people. This is all in your heart profile. You need to learn to curate your heart profile. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So here's how. Pay attention. Let's do these, okay? Put a hand on your heart. Now it's easier to pay attention. So even if you're good at it, do it with the hand. Now you're going to breathe in rhythm, whatever it may be, a rhythm that helps you focus here. I want you to immediately feel curious. This is cool. Oh, I'm really shallow at the... It's strong and I'm shallow. Just this little breath in and out. I breathe in just a little and I feel the flame go up. I've been doing a lot of heart work lately. Breathe in your heart. Your goal is to have deeper breaths, but you stop the depth of the breath when you realize that you've evoked a vibrant fire. Don't blow it out. Find the rhythm that stokes it higher and be excited when it's just a little bit that makes the difference. Now, this is very simple. I saw Teal Swan do a great job of explaining this the other day. Just resistance. I mean, I saw it the other day. Just evoking a resistance. Are you looking at your pain, or are you being positive and trying to generate something joyful? Well, when it's time to generate something joyful, when your raw power and love are present, and you have a relaxed space, it's time to set into motion the joys and the hopes and the dreams that you want. Do it. If you start doing shadow work, then you're being a negative worry wart and you're putting a monster in the middle of a lovely little garden. You don't need to do that when there isn't a monster in the garden. Now, if you convince yourself you need to be a monster because you need to protect your garden, you're on a head trip. You're bringing your fears into a space where they didn't exist before. It's far more courageous to say, when it's time to do shadow work, we'll do shadow work. This is good. This is wise. This is maturity. And it's actually much more frightening because you don't get control then. You know that you carry certain burdens, certain challenges. You know certain monsters seems to recur in your life. But don't go hunting them when it's not time. I want to say that super clearly for you because I think there's what term do we use here? There's a wildflowers. Wildflowers are this unity of the light and the dark. We're bringing the soil up and we're embodying the color of the light. We're weaving together these forces and we're honoring the darkness for its capacity to richly generate new soil. And there are roots and there are flowers and buds and stems that reach to the sun. And they're both. When it's time to work with repairing roots that have been trampled or eaten at or disturbed, then you repair the roots. When it's time. But when is it time? To be able to tell, you must be able to tune into yourself. You must be able to tune into yourself and ask. And it really is this simple. When you start thinking about confronting your fears, where are you? Where in your energy field are you? This is a simple question, but you need to be asking it multiple times a day. When you are thinking, where are you? Consider you have a location in and around your body. Often it's outside your body, in your aura somewhere over here, because you're thinking with thoughts that are coming at you from others, from the culture. Let's talk a little bit about why this is a bad idea. And by the way, hearts aren't linear. So this is what wild classes are, people. Hearts are not linear. So when I feel this presence of something externally and I'm not in my heart, I know my heart is sick of me leaving my heart to deal with these things. So look at this. How many ways are you making decisions that have nothing to do with your heart? No, I'm not judging you. Don't get grumpy and don't get annoyed at me. I'm not judging you. I am raising questions you might not ask frequently. If you're a woman and you shave your armpits, why? You know what armpit hair does? It holds pheromones. You know what your pheromones do? They say yes and no. Mm. They're right here next to your heart, by the way. And they say yes and no. To one person, you smell good. To another person, you smell gross. If you are shaving your armpits and putting on deodorant to cover up the smell from someone's reaction who thinks you smell gross, you missed the point. You were telling them to leave you alone by smelling badly to them. Same smell, someone who really wants you, they're going to like that. Same thing with men. Same thing. Shaving your legs. Why? To look younger? Who made this choice? Who sat down in a circle and said, hey guys, young girls are better? This is like an inheritance from like thousands of years ago that says, women die at 30. A younger woman has a little bit longer to live and keep a child alive. Where'd this come from? Forgive me, people, for being clearer and clear, but a woman without experience doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. 20-year-olds are puppies, and men who want 20-year-olds are, in my opinion, older men, 30, 40-year-old men who want 20-year-olds they're terribly, terribly insecure. You don't have anything in common. And if you're identifying the vibrancy of 20-year-olds as if that is the greatest attraction, you are completely missing the mark on, what it is to be with another person, to dance with another being who can see you. And you've never even felt those intensities. So you're identifying the intensity of youth as the primary and most extraordinary gift and desire. It's boring. These forces drive our choices. These forces drive our choices. For years and years and years, I would not sit with my legs crossed, like, one knee over the other. I don't know if you can see me. It's very comfortable for me sometimes. It shuts down my energy, makes me feel contained. But for years and years and years, I wouldn't sit that way. Why wouldn't I sit that way? I guess because I didn't want some jackass to think I was a wussy gay man. But it was exactly what my energy body needed. It literally closes your root and sacral down to calm shit. It gives you the control to calm energy down, but I wasn't doing it because that wasn't considered manly. How often do you make such choices? All of these choices, I assure you, have nothing to do with your heart. When you feel your heart, what does your heart want? All you have to do is feel your heart and consider a possibility and see, does it get more vibrant or less vibrant? Let's see if we can do a couple more. What are some really good ones? Well, most primary for men is, will you cry? Will you say no when you feel scared? Oh man, nothing less manly than that, right? Will you cry? Will you say no when you feel scared? Will you back away? Will you admit that, will you admit that? Will you admit that? That's not what your heart wants. Those are feelings coming straight out of your heart. When we say follow your heart, it's not just stepping down a path. Your heart feels fear. Your heart feels guilt. Your heart feels rage. Following sort of loses its dimensional purpose as a word. Honoring, remaining, staying with your heart. Can you stay with your heart through these transformations? We are living in a world where it is normal to say, I will be a part of your play if you will be a part of my play. These are transactional relationships, and I encourage you to recognize that many of your best relationships might be transactional. There's no shame in this. It's just you need to identify it in order to get to a deeper depth. I've spent time in my marriage identifying how we've made transactional choices. And we can honor those. Thank you for giving me what I needed in this way, and I've been able to give you what you need in this way. Now, can we get deeper than that? Knowing that we know how to give each other what we're wanting, lacking, that we believe we need, can we get deeper to the point where we're identifying the things that we both create together because it's the same desires? I assure you, these are much higher. How do you find them? In the heart. In the heart. I will go so far as to say, particularly to young men, particularly to young women in different ways, to everybody, to hell with the gender stereotypes. Don't partner up without heart at all. Don't imagine without heart. Don't at all. At all. If your heart's not part of the equation, there's something wrong. What? The only things that work without your heart's harmony are out of tune with your heart. It's a circular point and it's simple. If you think of it as a buzzkill to have to bring your heart in, you have not experienced the greatest intensities in life. Our hearts show us the edge. Nothing can be more intense than something that includes the heart. Now, plenty of times your heart says no. Your heart says it's not time for that. It's not time to harvest tomatoes in June. It's not time to harvest a wide range of flowers in May. Black-eyed Susans and echinacea don't flower till later in summer. You can't harvest them in May. You'll be cutting the seedlings. They won't even grow into bushes. You can't have everything that you identify as a desire whenever you want it on Earth. That's not how Earth works. And if you force the conditions with technological interventions, You fail to understand what an echinacea flower is. An echinacea flower is medicine from later in summer. There's a rhythm to the gifts of the earth. If you break that rhythm by identifying focal points and thinking that is desire, you are taking a snapshot, turning it into a black and white picture, and then asking someone to make a cartoon drawing of it and thinking that you are living. You are diminishing the dimensions of life one after another if you keep making choices without your heart. It really can be this simple. And that the heart will massively veto all sorts of stuff. Now, here's the simple disclaimer. Very simple, very simple. You have to stay with your heart. For a long time, people are going to have a relationship with your heart where your heart could blow open when you have certain thoughts. You can't rely on those thoughts as if they're a constant reflection of your heart unless it keeps working. Sounds obvious, but I promise you, we could blow up in our hearts and have an incredible thought at the same time, and then hold on to that moment. I know my heart blew open and I had this thought, so I'm going to follow it. I was hiding in the woods for months. I didn't want to come out. I only came out when I ran out of food. I would eat every scrap of food I had, and then I would walk 8 miles. Sometimes I'd hitchhike, get on a bus, go another 12 miles, get some food, go back home. I was saying no, 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 no. Then, one night, after months of being isolated, I realized that I wanted to be president of the United States. My heart blew open. My heart went boom. Mind started to flow. Ideas started to flow. Everything started to work because I said yes to something. But it didn't last. If you hold those kind of moments of release, it's a bipolar existence. What happened was I said yes to something. My heart was basically saying, well, you're dreaming, you're participating, you're coming up with new ideas. We like this for now. But if it doesn't work the next day and the next day and the next day, that's a strong indication that maybe part of it was bent like a funhouse mirror. You have to stay. You have to check in with your heart again later today, and then tomorrow, and then the next day. You don't get to take a snapshot and then leave. I've had people who do one session with me. This has not happened often, to be honest with you, but I had someone do a session with me, and they followed my advice, but they never checked in. And then later they came back to me and they're like, well, it didn't work. I'm like, dude, you didn't keep asking me how to develop that idea. You ran with your snapshot of what we shared. Now think about that with your heart. If you just take a snapshot of a moment in time with your heart and try to build your life on that, that is, you're still trying to stay in mental control. If you keep making your choices with the heart, you're saying, what's going to keep my heart fire burning? What's going to keep my heart open? And the reason people don't keep their hearts open is because it's going to attract those pains. So commit to this simplicity. When your heart shows you it's time to create love, make love in the world. Make love. Take the baggage out of it. Just make love. To make love through connecting, through dreaming, through sharing what's true to you in a way that's healthy for you, through reaching out and finding the stranger that you say hello to. Yesterday, I was walking to the coffee shop to meet a good friend of mine, and on the way, I bumped into another guy. And we just sort of like went like this. And he was like, hey, what's up? What's up? And we're like talking. He had just been to a Joe Dispenza retreat. And he was immediately like asking me about what I do and going, dude, I think you should keep doing that. He's on to something. It sounds like you're on the same thing. Like you should keep going for this. I'm getting all this encouragement out of nowhere from a stranger who knew how to sense my resonance because our hearts are open. That's what happens daily. It's beyond synchronicity. Synchronicity is the word we use when we're learning to tune into the flow. When you live in the flow, it's not synchronicity anymore. It's normal. Of course, I'm going to attract someone who just came back from a Joe Dispenza workshop. I'm honored that my heart is open enough to be in tune like that. Walk around your hometown or your city or your village and be like, who's there? who's ready for me? Like, who's ready for me? My heart profile is strong. I trust it. And if and when my heart shows me some shadows, I know that I'm committed to dealing with them because they're arising then. If and when. But don't go trying when it's not time. And you can't know unless you tune in and ask. Sam, so good to see you. I'm glad you're here. I've been meaning to check in on you. If you have any questions, please share. Or if you have engagements or inspirations for me, I'm thrilled to love with you guys in a way that, I started a story earlier, and I'll build it. A year ago, I was so frustrated and angry. I carried this repressed sense of resentment that I was not more successful on YouTube. A year later, I'm feeling this sacred hunger. I'm like, more. But it's exciting. It's joyful. I know it's real. I'm not mad. I'm not resentful. And therefore, I trust myself much more. It's really thrilling to feel this. And we have so much to do with it. It is beyond amazing to me. And I think I haven't let myself fully rest in it. My wife has been trying to tell me something for the past couple of weeks, and I've been too afraid to trust it. She literally tells me in words this, and I've been afraid that she feels like I'm pulling her towards it because it's very much what I wanted. And she basically got a little annoyed at me. She's like, I just told you that. Are you going to hold it? I feel like there's a love here for me that I haven't fully held because I'm almost like, you sure it's real? I don't want to, I don't know if I generated this space, do this YouTube channel. You guys come and watch it. I'm still hesitant to fully rest in it. I feel less hesitant than I have ever, really. Yesterday I was praying for synchronicity because I'm not totally in the flow. I know what it feels like to be in the flow for a while and when it's just normal, but I'm not totally in it. But I'm bringing myself into the flow, and I'm praying for guidance. And on the way on this afternoon, first of all, I decided to leave at 3, so I'm not working 9 to 5. Oof. And I meet this guy on the way, and he's just come out of this Joe Dispenza workshop. He wants to know my channels when I tell him what I do. And he's very directly like, hey, you can do this. You're onto something. I can feel it. Really giving me this sense of hopefulness in the future. And then I find out, and this I would like to share this with you. It's joyful. It's really joyful. He's a member of a big family locally. And he's identified me. He's knew that I grew up here. He said he'd recognize me from being around, and he identified me by age. And he's like, "Oh, Tom Amici." And Tom Amici was the basketball and football star, or he was certainly the football quarterback from 6th grade through 12th grade. And he was really cool. I never knew anything negative about the guy. He was a good guy. And I didn't ever hear of him picking on people or misusing that position, which is quite a thing to hold for that long. And somehow I felt the support of that, and it's meaningful to the sixth grader in me. I found something that more people resonate with than I thought. And it's exciting for me to tune into my own community in a way that I've sort of given up on. I needed to find people as cool as you all. And I have. And it's a helpful, gentle turnaround to who lives around me and realizing they believe in me more than I thought. It's a good feeling. And then I went into the coffee shop to meet a good friend. He's in my men's circle with me. We're all fathers of relatively young kids. And he talks to me about another friend of ours. I didn't know he was friends with this guy, but I am. And I really like him. He's always been a good guy. I met him early in my relationship with my wife. He's very interesting. And he has a YouTube channel, which I did not know about. It's called Edible Acres. I encourage you to look it up. He's got 150,000 followers. And I'm like, wow, I've sort of held that as a slightly like, stay humble. I don't need to ask for that much. And here's someone I really like and know who's thriving on that level. And it's really cool stuff. He sells all sorts of local plants, starts, seedlings. He grows trees for 5 years, but in a context where he could dig them up easily and then transplant them to your yard. He knows a ton about growing gardens, particularly being conscious of the actual ecosystem you're in. Because lo and behold, if you grow local native plants, they have a much easier time thriving, and they often give you much more. And so it's a really beautiful gift he's bringing the world. And I had no idea he was thriving on this level on YouTube. And also, I experienced this beautiful thing for me. This is a confessional moment. I've probably shared it, thinking that I haven't, but I don't like myself a lot when I branch out and try to explore on YouTube, because I find myself being very critical of other people and a little jealous in a way that it causes me not to trust myself. I'm like, if I'm reacting that way, there's something wrong with my whole approach. I've got to do some more work before I go deeper. And I found I was just happy. I was just really happy that this guy is doing so well. And it made it feel more accessible for me. And this is the kind of feeling, like, mentally, I've felt like I'm supposed to react this way. And why haven't I been reacting this way? And I did. I did. I like saw that he's successful. I like his style. He's really kind. And one thing he does very well that I think I do too, and I'd like to even take a look if I can do better, is he's talking through what he's done, and he's like laughing about the mistakes he's made. And he's like, well, we tried this. He planted bamboo because he planted some tomatoes. They grew too quickly. And then he planted bamboo to try to trellis the tomatoes up the bamboo. And it didn't really work. So he was showing it and laughing about it because it was a really cool idea. Like, what a neat way to think about it. And he explained why it didn't work. He explained how he made the experiment. I'm like, wow, I feel like I could take it to another level of honesty and transparency, really sharing my process and just being joyful about, I tried this, it didn't work, but look what I learned. So super inspiring to see someone else's support and success in this way. And it's a really great sign for me, because I feel like in a real way, my sort of inner resentment and petulance has been a good reason not to be more successful. Like, I've had to deal with that first. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job. And something that helped, I also found a new guy. I hope I like him. I'm going to tell you about him, though, because I've really intentionally been saying, show me the people I could really appreciate. Show me the people I won't criticize. Like, please. Like, I feel like I'm caught in a feedback loop of proving myself in a vortex echo chamber of my own head. And I found this guy, Dane, here. He's a chiropractor. Really cool. And he's talking about energy in a way that I appreciate. He's very comfortable with the language. And one thing he said is, people who are hypercritical of other people who are judging other people, are really just judging themselves. Now, somebody else could have told me, somebody else has probably told me these. I've probably told me this, but it hit me in a way it never has. All of a sudden, I forgave myself for being judgmental. And I said, how am I being judgmental of myself in a way I haven't looked at? And I found it. I found it at a deeper depth. And it was just like, there it is in my heart. I'm going to pull that out. I'm just going to pull that right out of my heart and let it go. It's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling. Such a good feeling to know you're alive. Such a happy feeling to growing inside. And when you wake up ready to say, I think I'll have a snappy new day. We tried to get my son into Mr. Rogers when he was young. He wouldn't do it. Now, my kids are both watching it together. It's so peaceful. Oh my goodness. We got into it because Mr. Rogers actually did a show at my childhood playground. Right after they built it, right after we built it, I'm burning some cedar because I really just pulled out a really nasty judge, and it feels great. So we watched this episode where he came to our home, and it somehow reignited my kids' interest, and we're watching it at night. It's such a beautiful addition to our lives. Thank you, Angie. Grand Rising. Thank you for being here, Joshua. I love these. Let's see what's in my heart to share before we leave. Please share anything that's been missing. Questions in all caps. So, guess what? Equinox is coming up. I encourage you all to honor it in some way. Some way. You know, there aren't a lot of traditions in the mainstream culture on this, but the equinoxes and the solstices, they're universal. They're universal. They are unarguably crucial points for the whole world. So I find incredible inspiration and solace in this. This is what we share. We share this whether we honor it or not. I strongly encourage you to honor them in some way. My wife and I started by just going out to dinner on the winter solstice, and we've grown since then. We started inviting people. We're having an equinox gathering with a lot of our local friends and of many traditions. And it's beautiful. This is the balance of light and dark, people. This is the beginning of fall. It's a seasonal transition. So unite it with work. It's a good time to put your gardens to rest. You know, do whatever you may need to turn the soil over, pull the major weeds that are ready to be pulled. Everything's not ready, but some things are ready. Perhaps stake some things in. Some trees and plants are ready to be planted. You might want to wait until it's a little colder. Clean up around outside, things that are harder to do when it's colder. Put the yard to rest. Unite it with some work inside. Maybe bring something. Think about what would make you more comfortable in the cold. Honor it. Set it up. You know, get it there. Seasonal decorations are awesome, people. We cycle some pictures of beautiful nature scenes in spring, summer, winter, fall. We hang different things, like we hang leaves. We hang leaves in the winter or the fall. We hang snowflakes in the winter. We hang eggs in the spring. We hang flowers in the summer. It's awesome. It's awesome to honor the rhythms. And the equinoxes and solstices are the best time to do that. Woo! I'm so excited about it. So I invite you to be a part of this. I am going to take a little break and have to do so early today. And then I'm going to move over to the readings in about 5 or 10 minutes. I'm sorry to leave you early, but I got just a couple things I got to take care of, and I'll be with you soon. I love. Here, let's heart first. All right. I love this. I love this heart. I want to invite you to something. When your energy starts waking up, there's an energy you feel that moves up your spine. Now, I want to be very clear again and again. What you're feeling is not the core. It's rarely the core of the energy. You're feeling one layer. You are not feeling the energy in the Sushumna at first. You're feeling a radiance from it. But through connecting with that radiance, you have a strong influence. I want you to imagine energy rising up through your root to your heart. Sometimes when it passes, your root opens, which is a sign that your Kundalini has released in the past. But then your sacral kind of freaks out a little. And you could have a sense that you need to urinate, or you feel desire, sexual desire, both. If you identify this mentally for what it is, it's a reaction to the intensity and the unfamiliarity with the intensity. And just keep thinking up. And just sort of tend it. Sense this whole connection from your root to your heart. Sense it building as you breathe, and start to emphasize your heart, but keep tending. So if you feel any sensations from root all the way up to heart, just kind of give them a little attention, breathe with them, and nurture them like you're helping them to rise up to the heart. And I ask you again, do we have permission to connect with your heart? If you say no, maybe turn away now. I'm going to stay with this a couple more minutes. And in this permission, we're trusting. I am trusting the rhythms of the earth. The earth changes the energy she gives to us in this way. She unites us with the seasonal transitions and the weather of her heart. Changes. This changes, and it's an incredible both restraint and gift and empowerment. But it means when it's raining, it's raining. When we accept the rhythm of her vibrancy, we don't have as much power to assert certain choices. But I don't need to eat fresh grapes in February. And so I open and breathe and sense the heart of the earth. And as you trust my voice and this guidance, you are tuning into our collective and our way of tuning and trusting the earth. And so as we share our heart with each other, we are trusting that we can be with each other, we can support each other in remaining committed to honoring the shadows, doing the shadow work when it arises, and getting back into the flowering and the color and the joy and the intentional creation of the life we most want to live. And this is so much more powerful when we let our heart open like a flower, revealing the forces within us and trusting that the people who we need to heal with will be attracted to us. Don't identify anybody as a toxic person ever again. They're just people who are bearing problems that they are perhaps not dealing with. That's it. Oh, that creates toxicity, but they are not a toxic person. They are just someone who's stuck, who you are not good at helping. Move on, but do so with humility, because your heart will stay open if you keep it open. But your heart will close if you judge others for their failures, whether you have made such failures in the past or whether you think you see a reflection of yourself in them. Gentle your judgments. Open your heart and trust that it works. Breathe here. Who else did I find? I don't know his name. I like him. He's like a goofy, strong, like calisthenics aerobic weight trader guy on YouTube. I've been praying to connect with people who I don't want to feel criticism. I just want to be like, yes, I'm glad you're alive. And I'm starting to find, I haven't been asking for this. My heart's opening and I'm saying, show me, show me, show me the people I can just appreciate. I like the hybrid calisthenics guy. I got his pull-up bar. Highly recommend it. I'm just being with my heart. What keeps my heart smiling? What makes your heart smile? When you breathe, when you feel, what keeps your heart smiling? It's a question. You're holding the question. You keep holding the question. Don't hold the answer. Remember the answer. Don't hold it. Remind yourself of the answer. See if it works tomorrow. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. The question will work. Hold the question. What brings your heart to life? What makes your love flower? See you soon.